Hello everyone. Are people around? Hello Donna.
Hello.
Hello Sophie. Hi Hatim, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good. How's everyone else? Good, how are you? I'm okay. Did you people have a good break? So? Jason, what happened to your image? It caught fire? We'll start maybe in we'll wait another few minutes and then we'll start. Any interesting stories from the break? No, it's spring. The days are longer, less curfew. I think we'll start with a bit of a breakout room where you could simply just touch base. You could talk about maybe like tiny joys, small good things that are happening in your life. Maybe there are big things also. Just some gratitude. We'll take maybe I'll start the group now. We'll just 5 minutes, take 2 minutes each to yeah, just update each other. Just creating rooms. So you'll be either 2 or 3 people. Think of it as a gratitude moment. So let's talk about like joys in your life, good moments in your life. Does it work for people? Yes? No? Okay, let's do it. All right. Thank you to those who have their videos on. Those of you who can turn it on, please do. It was nice to see you all with your cameras on for the test 2 weeks ago. So those of you who arrived later, I sent you to the breakout rooms. I don't know if you had a chance to talk or not. The idea was to quickly talk about the break, about a couple of things for which you have gratitude from that time. Did people have a chance to talk? How was it? It was okay? It wasn't long, but I was expecting you to have like, a minute or two each. Catherine, I'm not sure if you're trying to speak with me or speak to the class, but we can't hear you. I can't hear you. Anyhow, yeah, you might need to see if your mic is working properly. So some of you came during the office hours and wanted to look at the exam. Those of you who would still like to check it out, you have my office hours information in Leah in the announcement section, so feel free to come by if you want. What I can say is that some people did really well in the test, but many also did not do well. That's the thing with multiple choice exams. It's like if you are answering by guess or with your instinct, which often happens, it doesn't guarantee that you have the right answer, right? So from what I'm seeing, like in terms of results and also the trend, the places where people like made mistake is when you guessed the answer. If you are going back and looking in the notes, you would have the right answer. So for whatever reason, it looks like people didn't quite always refer back to notes or have prepared well. What I can say is that I think I mentioned it in the I'm not sure in one of my communications that there will be a makeup activity. Like I will give you an assignment, and if you choose to do it, you can. And so if you choose to do this makeup assignment, the marks on this assignment will replace the one that you got on the test. Okay, so you have this possibility, and I'm not going to make it difficult. All of these activities that I'm giving you, whether it's glossary or class forum or like, even the test, it's always with the perspective of you learning the material and really appropriating it. So the makeup assignment that I'm going to give you is in the same direction. Maybe some of you will find it easier, maybe for some it will be not. So you can decide, and it's not an obligatory test. It's only if you want to improve your grade from the test that we did 2 weeks ago. So if you do well, let's say you got 15 in the test, and you do the makeup assignment, and let's say you got 18 on it, then the grade that you will get for the 25% will be the 18 points that you will get on the new one. But let's say you had 15 in your test and you did this assignment. I'm not saying you will, but let's say you got less points in it. Let's say you got 12 in the assignment. I would still keep the highest grade as the grade that goes in your final assessment. Okay, so you'll get the better of the two grades. So you won't be penalized for having attempted this makeup test. Are there any questions, any things that is on people's minds? No, you're good. So what I'm going to do is post this makeup test, or it's more of an assignment. That assignment either over the weekend or before the weekend. Look at it, start to work on it. We'll go over the test in a minute. We'll go over that assignment in a minute. But start looking at it over the weekend. And we can come back next class on the 31st. You can ask any questions you have. And then I'm expecting you to submit that test on 8th of April. It's a Friday. It's a Friday before the long weekend. So I'm expecting you to just finish the assignment before, so you are also like, at least you don't have this one thing to think about over your long weekend. Okay? So we are 24th today. I will likely make the test, make the assignment available over the weekend, if not before. So that gives you roughly 2 weeks to do the assignment. Okay? Now, what is the assignment? The assignment is really for you to make a poster on an issue that we cover. I mean, on a topic we covered in class, or something related to what we covered. Basically, it's not like exactly on what we covered, but it could be related. Give me a moment. I'll show you an example. All right. So you remember this image from one of our first classes from the Poinciana reading. So this is an example of a poster. I'm not expecting you to make something exactly like that, but I'm giving an example just to know what is a poster. So who wants to say what is a poster? Anybody has an idea? What is the purpose of a poster? What is considered a poster? Anyone? Just raise your hand before speaking. That way I know who's speaking. Go ahead, Sophia.
Poster is to like grab somebody's attention and like get people to look at what your message is. Or like, example, let's say a music poster is to get an audience to come to your concert. For this, it could be that you want people to help fight against the problem. Or like there could just be a regular art poster to be like, oh, this looks pretty, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea with the poster is to grab people's attention. That's one of the basic points. And the other thing that you are trying to do with a poster is you're conveying a specific message. And here you will see the guidelines. It will be laid out clearly. But here what we are trying to do for our class, which is on social movements, is like we are trying to pass a message. We are trying to say, here is what we are doing, come join us. That's a tagline in a way. Tagline, or like that's the kind of the gist of what you're doing is, this is our event, here is what we are trying to do, join us. So the idea there is that you are trying to invite people to an activity that you have organized. That's the main point there. So the poster has to be inviting. It has to be aesthetically pleasing, something that people are, are attracted by, or people are kind of stopping by to look. And also it has to be something that has like large enough font, the readability is really important. If you are writing something super small and super tiny, then people won't be able to like read what you are talking about, that message you are conveying. Yes, Hatim.
Yeah, so is this like a physical poster, or could we make a poster online, like a photoshopped kind of thing?
I'm expecting you to make something online and submit it online. Yeah, you can also then print it. That becomes your physical poster. You could also make the drawings that you want, by hand if you want, and take a picture and submit. That's totally fine. You don't have to use the software, but you can also use the software. The idea there is like, is it aesthetically pleasing or not? Is it something that somebody's gonna stop and look at? So that is the point about what is the poster. Now the second question is what is going to go on it, like what is the content of the poster. So the content here is, like I said, you're organizing an event related to an issue, that's something that we have covered in class. So for instance, we covered Montreal North, like what's happening in Montreal North. So just with that theme, you can make like 5 or 6 different posters, right? You could be talking about how like COVID is, it was like very much present in Montreal North, and maybe like you're doing an event where people are talking about it, right? So that event, so that's just in terms of an issue. It could be something like, how students are dropping out from Montreal North schools. So that's an event. You're creating an activity like that. Another example on the same theme is around racial profiling, how Freddie Villanova was killed by police there. So even though we covered like one topic, there could be like many different ideas that can come out of it. So it's really up to you. As long as it relates to something we covered in class, you have the freedom to choose the topic you want and create a poster. Now that's the issue. Now what is the activity? Any ideas what activity could be? I think Sophia mentioned a few already. Anybody who wants to maybe like paraphrase what Sophia said, or any new activity that comes to your mind? One thing I want to say here for you to like remember and know what you are talking about is, it is a public event, it's a public activity, and there is a public invitation, right? That public activity could be a demonstration, it could be a music concert, right? Maybe you're doing a music concert to raise funds for people affected by COVID in Montreal North, for example, right? It could be a speaker event. You are inviting people to come to speak at an event, and you have this event open to anybody who wants to join. It could be something that you're doing in college, right? It could be you are organizing a workout and you are having a student meeting. So it could be anything. There is really no restriction as to what could be the activity. Yes, Gabriel.
You just have to make a poster for it. We don't actually have to plan the activity, right?
No, it is the poster. You can also plan activity, but it won't be.
All right, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
I think somebody has their. Yeah, just maybe mute yourself if you're not speaking. Yes, Hatim.
Yeah, sorry, another question. Are you gonna write all the guidelines on the assignment? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'm saying it now just so we have like a one-on-one conversation here, and you can ask questions. But all of this will be in the document that I will be posting on Leia. So we talked about the issue. The issue has to be something that is related to what we covered in class, but there are like many options there. And then the activity, what is the activity? We talked about some examples. I will also give you a link in the assignment where you can choose, you can inspire yourselves. Just so like you are making the poster like in line with the activity that you are choosing. Now, the other thing there is I would be expecting you to have like different information on the poster. So you're gonna write the title of your event. It could be like, if you're talking about a music concert, I don't know, let's say Celine Dion, like Celine Dion to Celine Dion at Vanier, for example. That would be your title. So something that you want to write and like, very catchy and big in font. So people can actually, like look at it, and as they pass by, the idea with the font size is that you're passing in the corridor and your eyes should catch the text. Do people remember like what it was like in college? You are going through the, in corridors, and there's like, bulletin boards where the posters are put up. Anybody remembers that? Sophia, you had your hand up.
Like I have a question about the posters. Can we base our poster off of like, let's say, like an organization?
You mean like inspire the design from them, or you mean?
Or like, how we learned about, I think there was something like not Woodstock, but it was like a name like that.
Hoodstock,
yes. Like, let's say if we made a design for them, could we do that or no?
Okay. What I'm suggesting, I was about to come to that later. Let me come to it. Okay, that's a good question. Let me just finish this point. So I was talking about the title. The title should be big enough so people can catch the name, as they are walking. And second thing that I'm asking you to do is have a tagline. A tagline means that you're conveying a bit more about the subject. So people should have all the information on the poster, but not like in like lots of text. I'm saying one title and one tagline. Tagline is like a sentence, just one line. Like here they say, like a local bus for the point. So just in like these 5, 6 words, they convey their message, right? So I'm asking you to like think about this. It has to be something catchy, like a tagline, like in ads you see tagline. So think about that and add a tagline. And also add like when, where, so time, date, time, place. So all of this information I will be you will have in the document, and so you won't have to like remember it all. You can take notes now if you want, but what I'm expecting is basic information on the poster, something that is like pleasing to the eye, aesthetically pleasing. And the question that Sophia asked, can you make it for an organization? What I'm expecting you to do is make the activity as if it's happening at Vanier College. So you're organizing an activity as a student for your fellow students. That's the theme. Okay? So you could be doing, making a poster of somebody from Woodstock is coming to speak at Vanier. If that's what you want to do. Okay? Are we good with that? So technically speaking, it shouldn't take you too long to make, which actually comes back to the question I believe Hatim asked, like, do you want us to do it on Photoshop or how? You can do it in PowerPoint if you want. Of course, Photoshop, if you have Photoshop and if you have the skills, if you know how to use Photoshop, go ahead, for sure. But you don't have to use anything that is so specialized. You can use PowerPoint, you can use a Word document, you can use a Google Doc. So it's really, obviously, like the more you're gonna go, like PowerPoint is probably a best bet because you can have like different fonts and you can adjust the fonts, you can move things around and stuff like that. There are also many online apps that allow you to make poster. I will give you some links. So, and I will also give you a link or two with like a whole bunch of posters. So you'll have some sample posters, you'll have some sample designs, and you'll get an idea of like how to organize and things like that. And this is also a good skill to have. So, like if you choose to do it, like if you got a good grade in the midterm, but you still want to do that activity, feel free, like be my guest. So it's a good skill to have, and like try making it, and don't waste too much time on it. I would say, like try to make it like simple. It doesn't have to like, I'm not expecting you to spend like 10 hours on it. Okay, it's something that could be fairly easy and fast. What I would say in terms of process is take a look at a few posters. You can also look up posters online. If you like put posters in Google, you'll have like lots of them. I will give you samples. Look at the samples, see how you want to do it, and don't plagiarize, don't copy any poster, do your own thing. This is a creative assignment that will develop your creativity. So see like what you can come up with yourself. This is a challenge and also a learning experience. Once you have an idea how you want to do, like see if you want to draw it on a paper or something, just to get a clear idea of like how you want to do everything, and then you should be able to do it like in an hour. Okay, are there any questions? I'm going to stop this screen share. Are there any questions at this point? Are we good? All right. And I'm giving you this activity as a makeup for the exam, and I want you to know that I'm not making it punitive. I'm actually giving you an activity that could be very much fun to do. It's creative, and it's a skill you're going to learn. And I think it was Gabriel who asked the question about like, should we be organizing an activity? Maybe in future you will organize an activity, and you would have had this experience, and you can be the person who can take on this task and have fun in the process. Okay, are we good with it? All right. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for the messages in chat. All right. So with that, let's move on to the topic from today. I had posted two texts. One was on trans rights, and the other was on like general gender issues, on patriarchy, in fact. Did people have a chance to read the text? Anybody who read the text I see some heads nodding. There was the text on trans rights. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll try to cover it a little bit here, okay?
And you have no objections to working on weekends?
Oh, not at all. My time's completely my own.
And we'll see if, we will go cover the reading, and if you haven't read, I'll give you a bit of time to look at the documents. They're actually not very long. All right. So we will watch a video. It's a short video. It's on Trans 101. So it gives you an introduction of like what is trans, what are different terms. Those are the terms that are also interesting. If you haven't already used, if you haven't already posted terms for the glossary, you might want to note down some of those, and you can put it in the document. You can submit that. The video is fun, but it might be going a bit fast, so I suggest you take notes as we go.
Say it one more time.
All right, so I'm going to share it. It's about 7 minutes. We might not go all the way. So just so you know what to expect. All right. Let me know if the volume doesn't work. It should be. If it's fine, then no worries. But otherwise, chat. Send a message in chat, please.
Non-binary.
Sorry. 3, 2, 1.
When we think of the word gender, a whole lot of images rush to mind.
Most of us are taught the idea
that people are born a boy or a girl.
And we're expected to act a certain way based on what's between our legs.
But that actually isn't true for everyone.
It totally ignores the huge and amazing world of people who are trans and gender diverse.
And that's what we're going to dive into in this series.
Being trans, gender identity, and what it's all about.
Welcome to Trans 101.
Traditionally, we tend to think of gender as decided by the body we're born in.
People are usually assigned female or male at birth.
But bodies and gender are actually pretty separate things.
Gender is basically part of someone's internal sense of self.
It can be male, female, neither, a mix of both, or exist totally outside of that.
A person's relationship with their gender can also change over time as well.
The gender we're assigned at birth usually gets reinforced by the people around us over our lives.
Hearing things like, be a man, or you're such a girl.
It can feel like we're being told who we're supposed to be.
Most people feel comfortable with the gender that they're assigned.
But for some people, that label never quite fits and doesn't feel right.
That's what's called being
transgender.
You've probably heard the term transgender or even gender diverse.
That's when your gender doesn't entirely match the one you're assigned at birth.
A lot of people use trans for short.
That can mean the gender you were assigned felt meaningless, restrictive, or altogether just didn't quite fit.
That might seem like a pretty broad definition, and that's because it is.
And the most important thing you need to know, there's no one right way to be trans.
There are a lot of different ways people might identify.
It's not about knowing every single one,
but rather being open to difference when you encounter it.
And also keep in mind that gender and sexuality are largely separate things.
Lesbian, bisexual, asexual, gay, and straight are a few different examples.
But we're all those things in addition to being trans.
They're not the reason we're trans.
I think for me, there's kind of been this expectation that I transitioned because I like guys and wanted to get with them more easily. Actually, I'm a super gay lesbian.
When we talk about gender identity, people often think of two opposing groups.
A binary of female and male, and that when you're trans, you go from one to the other, but there's a lot more to it than that.
Putting it simply, non-binary is an umbrella term people use
to describe gender that doesn't fit squarely into male or female.
And this can include people who feel that their gender is a mix of both.
Changes often.
Or something totally separate.
Or have no strong sense of gender at all.
Different people might use more specific terms to describe their gender, whilst others use non-binary.
And trans people who aren't non-binary,
who identify as strictly male or female,
might describe themselves as binary.
There's also a term for people who aren't trans. That's cisgender.
Cisgender is a way of saying not trans.
You might also have heard it shortened as cis.
Being cisgender is when the gender you identify as totally matches the one you're assigned at birth.
The term comes from Latin, meaning on the same side as.
And is used in contrast with trans, which means on the other side of.
It might be a new word to get used to, but it helps avoid a contrast of trans people and normal people.
And instead, just recognize that being trans or cis are just different ways to be.
So if you're cisgender, this is a great word to add to your vocabulary.
Transitioning is when someone takes steps
to socially or physically feel more aligned with their gender identity.
First is social transitioning.
Social transitioning involves how we interact with people.
Such as coming out as transgender.
To ask people to use different words and pronouns to describe us.
Or changing the way we interact with gendered spaces, like the bathroom we use.
Physically transitioning often involves a person altering their appearance
to what feels right for them.
Like clothes, makeup and hair.
or seeking medical support.
which can involve hormones or surgery. Transitioning isn't about appealing to other people.
Or necessarily trying to look like a cisgender person.
It's about a trans person doing what feels right for them.
And what that means for each person is different.
It's also important to know that transitioning isn't instant.
There's a tendency to think of transitioning as something automatic, like there's a fairy godmother who will pop up and magically change everything. Transitioning is a gradual thing.
And everyone's different.
No two people transition the same way.
A trans person's identity isn't defined by the way they do or do not transition.
So if someone doesn't feel transitioning is for them, that's totally cool too.
Gender dysphoria is an intense discomfort a trans person may feel
About physical attributes or the way that they're gendered by others.
Gender dysphoria can be on a social level, a physical level, or even a purely emotional level.
Dysphoria can be really overwhelming sometimes.
Having to live with a body or expression you're not comfortable with can really impact the way you're living.
Trans people find different ways to alleviate dysphoria.
And the positive impact that can have is enormous.
Like transitioning, having dysphoria doesn't make someone more or less trans.
And it's not something all trans people experience.
There will be a lot of new words.
We often hear things like, that's grammatically incorrect.
Is that a real word?
Fine, you got us.
You couldn't get any store-bought brand name words.
So we have to go with garden grown, that's twice as nutritious.
In reality, all language evolves at a community level.
Every single word.
For trans people, we're developing language that describes who we are.
Because in the past, either a lot of the words haven't existed,
Or those that have been created by people outside the trans community.
And don't always reflect our experiences.
When you're talking about gender and bodies, talk about what you actually mean.
People will have uteruses instead of women when talking about bodies.
Because some trans guys and non-binary people have those too. Or if you're talking about being a woman, avoid things like people with vaginas and just say woman, because not all women have those.
There's also never a need to say he/she when talking about a group of people.
They will do just fine.
it's shorter, less clunky, and more inclusive.
Using the right language makes trans people feel included. And it's actually more accurate as well.
Learning this stuff so you can be more informed is a pretty awesome thing to do.
So if you found this video helpful,
share it online so you can reach even more people.
And if you want to know more, check out the rest of Trans 101.
Alright, I'm going to stop the video or stop the share. So we did cover it all. How was it? Was it too fast? Were you able to follow everything? I will also post it online and post it on layer. Any reflections, any questions, comments coming out of this? Just remember that be respectful. Remember the safer space discussion we had in the beginning. So if you're unsure of something, ask yourself what is the best way of asking this question. The other thing I want to say is, I forgot. It slipped my mind. But I think what is important here is you can be curious, you can have questions without insulting people, without putting our own morality on others. And we did talk about a little bit about this in the beginning of the semester, if you remember, when we talked about adding pronouns to our names. I gave a full, maybe not full, but I gave a decent introduction of why we include our pronouns with our name, and some of you have it. Thank you. Those of you who don't, you might want to add it. The idea with that is that we don't want people to guess our gender based on how we look, based on how we dress. That we can define our gender ourselves. So yeah, that's kind of a bit the intro. Any questions or comments from what you watched? Anybody wants to define what is cisgender? There were a few terms in it. In fact, quite a few, but a few terms that you might be hearing or you might hear later on. Yes, Hatim.
Yeah, so what cisgender is someone who relates to their gender and their the other word where their genitalia is the same, right? Or their sex, sorry, where their sex and their gender is the same. So, for example, like it would be a word to replace normal people. You know how the woman said.
Yeah, so there was a lot said in the video, right? And one of the things they mentioned is, like how can we avoid the language of trans people and normal people?
Right, yeah, that's what I basically said, yes.
Yeah, that's what you were saying, okay. So that's what, so instead of using like, who's normal and who's not, so normal, basically, normal in a way doesn't really mean much. What it means is that maybe a majority of people are doing this or are following such and such. Normal comes from norms, which is to say, like what is known, what we all know. But what that means is that there are some people then who are marginalized because they don't fit in that normal. So that's what was said, like Hatim was mentioning, that's what was said in the video, is to avoid this long language of normal. So instead of like using something generic, we can be more specific. And this is something that keeps on being discussed a lot around how being specific allows us to be more accountable. If you just say, let's say an example of being specific, or not being specific. And if you just say, okay, fine, no, your mom is asking you to do something else. Say, okay, fine, I'll do it. You don't know when you will do it. The mother doesn't know if you'll do it right away, if you'll do it tomorrow. Like, let's say you have to pick up, your socks lying around in your room, and your mother is asking you to pick it up, and you say, okay, fine, yeah, I'll pick it up. But then the other person doesn't know when you're gonna do this. But if you're specific, if you say, okay, I will do it tonight, or I will do it tomorrow, one, it's easier for you. And second, your mother will know that, okay, fine, so I'm not going to bother, my son, my daughter, until like the next day, because they said that they're gonna pick it up the day after. So that's just the example about being specific versus thinking about like norm and normal. Now, coming back to cisgender is, so gender itself. So let's step back a little bit and talk about gender. Who wants to talk about gender? What is gender and what does it mean? Anybody would like to intervene on that? So gender is different from sex. Sex, as in, when you are putting down, and I know you have an application form, it says sex, male and female, right? So sex, like it was said in the video, it's about like the biological characteristics, or your physical, which is mostly your like you were saying, genitalia. So that's about sex, but the gender, the term gender, the notion of gender is different from that, right? Gender, so we are born with a specific set of apparatus, but then gender is what we define socially, because gender, if you say male, okay, you're dressing in a specific way, you are setting your hair specific way, people are challenging that, right? There are many men who would have like long hair, straight hair, and things like that. So how you are dressed, what kind of professions you are thinking about, and all of this is challenged a lot. But the idea is that gender kind of dictates and defines the norm, like what people should be doing. And oftentimes, like why do we say somebody is a she? Because you are like looking at the person and you're saying, okay, they are so and so features, they are dressed a certain way, so they are they are a she, for example. So that's the gender, that's the idea of gender, which is to say that it's socially constructed identity. It's not the same thing as what is your biology, what you are born with. Now, cisgender is the gender you are assigned with, the gender assigned at the time of your birth. So you are born and you are assigned a gender, because not everybody is also born in a binary, right? There are people who have different kind of apparatus. So, but then people are assigned a gender because that's the norm. And so let's say me, when I was born, my parents assigned me as female. They said, oh, a girl is born, right? And I'm still identified today as a female, as a girl. So I'm a cis person, I'm a cisgender person, which is to say that my gender today is the same as what was assigned to me when I was born. That's a cisgender. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual sex. It's only how we have identified, how we were identified, or how we continue to identify ourselves. So then the flip side of it is the trans, which is to say that like somebody I know who was assigned at birth a female, but then at the age of around 25, this friend of mine decided that that's not her gender, that's not who she is, that's not how she socializes. So she decided to be more of a trans person. In the beginning, she really wanted to just be a male, and she was using so he or him pronoun. And then later they decided that no, I actually just prefer to be not in that binary. So I was a female, I don't want to be a male, I just want to be gender fluid or not, so be a non-binary person. So that's the trans. Trans is simply, it means that you are not cis. So you are trying to explore, or you are adopting another gender that was not assigned to you at birth. Yes, Sophia.
You said it. I was gonna not correct you, but help you by saying that it was those who identify as non-binary usually identify as gender fluid, or one day they're male, one day they're female, one day they're both, one day they're none. For all they know, they could identify as an alien. That's also a gender now. So yeah.
So not everybody is gender fluid. Yes, there are people who want to be, and that's totally cool, right? One day, you feel why should who you are and what you do should be restricted? That's what their idea is. It's can I be free and do what I want, dress the way I want? So that's so we're talking about the gender fluid, and then maybe those who are non-binary, maybe they are so those who identify as non-binary, they might just say, okay, I'm non-binary, which is to say that I don't identify either as male or female. And then there could be many configurations in that non-binary, right? So which we don't necessarily have to go into right now. I think what is important is that the main point that's important here is that when you're not cis and you are trans, you are facing a whole number of issues. Because the society is made for specific norms, these binaries, and when they are, so it's their right to be, like to decide, let's say that, either non-binary or like be more so transgender, or like transgender women or transgender man. The video talks about like one specific thing, one specific issue they face, and maybe there are like two main things. Anybody would like to give it a try? Like what they talked about? So one main thing, it doesn't sound much, but people do misgender them a lot. Misgender as in, because we have this habit of guessing people's gender. So telling somebody, like she said that, when they actually don't identify as she. So one of the reasons why we do this in our class, and many other teachers do that, is from the get-go, like wherever you are, like whenever you are introducing yourself, whenever you're putting your name, is to state your gender. So that way, one, you are upfront announcing it, and it helps other people to not misgender you. So, and we haven't talked much about like the issues faced by women, but we will cover it in the other text, if not tonight, tomorrow. But if people have decided that they are not going to remain cis, they have their own reasons, right? We should not be judging that. Okay, the idea is not to judge, but to see how can we have this open mind. We say they say it in the video, like how can we be open to differences? And that being open to differences applies elsewhere also. When we are talking about racism is in fact about how some people are not like us, right? And also like there's a lot of power built in it, but ultimately at the heart of it is people are not open to differences. So the idea in this case is how can we be open to differences? So that was the point about the gender pronouns. And then the second main issue, there are many others, but second main issue that they come across is around the bathroom, right? Because the bathrooms are very much binary, right? You have men's bathroom and you have women's bathroom. And that's probably the only place where it's fairly strictly segregated, gender segregated in our society here in North America. Do people agree? Do you have any thoughts and reflections around this? Yes, Sophia.
I think I saw this thing about how North America is the most advanced when it comes to gender fluid bathrooms or non-binary bathrooms out of everywhere, especially let's say, for example, China or Middle East. There's no such thing as gender fluid bathrooms. It's either male or female bathrooms. There's nothing in between, and they probably won't be putting anything in between because it's not part of their culture, and they do not want to abide by that piece of culture yet.
So we can see what is happening there for sure. The point I was saying about our society in North America is in the way we exist, and we will. I don't know if people read some of you read the article from the reading for the class today. So this was like a few years ago, like 5-6 years ago at Dawson, there were no gender neutral bathrooms. So the students ran a campaign and demanded from the administration to have to include gender neutral bathrooms. So yes, compared to elsewhere, it's there a lot. What I would like to do is not necessarily compare. Comparing we can do as a second level. The first thing we have to do is analyze and see what is happening in our, like whatever you're studying, right? So what I'm saying is that in North America, the spaces that are segregated, like we don't have like, okay, here is women's entrance for the cinema, and here is men's entrance for cinema. Here is the men's buses and women's buses. We don't have that, right? So this is the point I was trying to bring home, is that the only place in our society currently where there is a specific notation and requirement of like having different spaces for different genders is the bathroom, right? Do people agree, understand what I'm talking about? So that's the issue that that trans folks are facing. We will watch another, in fact, it's a TED talk. We'll watch that, and in the talk, there is a clear elaboration of the issues faced. So there are 3 things. So I'm going to play the video in a minute. It's 11 minutes, so it's not long. I would like you to note 3 things in it. I'm going to write in chat. So first is, like what is it the trans folks are living? Like what is the cost that they are paying for this? So like what is the harm that is being done to them? And second, I want to see like what are different areas where they are having issue. Like, there are like the different spaces, different specific spaces, and either spaces or different locations. So I would so just note that and we'll do an exercise after together. So I would like you to note it as you watch. So and then third, I want you to see how this is being done. Like what is the process here? We're talking about how do we change the world, right? This is the title of the class. So here I want you to like pay attention to like how the speaker, it's Ivan who's speaking, and I would like folks to not come back after watching the video and start saying she said this, she said that, okay? Just use they pronoun for people, and they said it in the earlier video also, like when you're not sure, just say they instead of like giving your own pronoun to them, or just take their name, right? Pronouns are not essential. Obviously, like, in a sentence in English, like it makes sense to use a pronoun, but if you're unsure, like you can formulate things more by name or simply use they. So see how Ivan is like, how Ivan is going about trying to change the world, like make things better. Are there any questions here before I start the video? I'm opening the video, so I won't be able to see you, so just speak up. All right, so I expect you to take notes because we will do a collective activity after, and it'll also be useful for the follow-up activity. We'll do collective discussion and then we'll do an activity, okay? So I've put the 3 points in chat. So maybe like on a sheet of paper, like put the different headings, and whenever something comes up, you could write it down under that. All right, are we ready? It's 11 minutes, and then we can have a discussion after. We'll probably take a break and then we'll come back and have a discussion.
There are a few things that all of us need. We all need air to breathe. We need clean water to drink. We need food to eat. We need shelter and love. Love is great too. And we all need a safe place to pee. Yeah? As a trans person who doesn't fit neatly into the gender binary, if I could change the world tomorrow, to make it easier for me to navigate, the very first thing I would do is blink and create single-stall, gender-neutral bathrooms in all public places. Trans people and trans issues, they've been getting a lot of mainstream media attention lately, and this is a great and necessary thing, but most of that attention has been focused on a very few individuals, most of whom are kind of rich and pretty famous and probably don't have to worry that much anymore about where they're going to pee in between classes at their community college, or where they're going to get changed into their gym strip at their public high school. Fame and money insulates these television star trans people from most of the everyday challenges that the rest of us have to tackle on a daily basis. Public bathrooms. They've been a problem for me since as far back as I can remember. First, when I was just a little baby tomboy, and then later as a masculine-appearing, predominantly estrogen-based organism. Now, today, as a trans person, public bathrooms and change rooms are where I am most likely to be questioned or harassed. I've often been verbally attacked behind their doors. I've been hauled out by security guards with my pants still halfway pulled up. I've been stared at, screamed at, whispered about, and one time, I got smacked in the face by a little old lady's purse that, from the looks of the shiner I took home that day, I am pretty certain contained at least $70 of rolled up small change and a large hard candy collection. And I know what some of you are thinking. And you're mostly right. I can and do just use the men's room most of the time these days. But that doesn't solve my change room dilemmas, does it? And I shouldn't have to use the men's room because I'm not a man. I'm a trans person. And now we got these fear-mongering politicians that keep trying to pass these bathroom bills. Have you heard about these? They try to legislate to try and force people like myself to use the bathroom that they deem most appropriate according to the gender I was assigned at birth. And if these politicians ever get their way in Arizona or California or Florida or just last week in Houston, Texas or Ottawa, well then using the men's room will not be a legal option for me either. And every time one of these politicians brings one of these bills to the table, I can't help but wonder, just who will and exactly how would we go about enforcing laws like these, right? Panty checks? Really? So genital inspections outside of bath change rooms at public pools? There's no legal or ethical or plausible way to enforce laws like these anyway. They exist only to foster fear and promote transphobia. They don't make anyone safer, but they do for sure make the world more dangerous for some of us. And meanwhile, our trans children suffer. They drop out of school or they opt out of life altogether. Trans people, especially trans and gender non-conforming youth, face additional challenges when accessing pools and gyms, but also universities, hospitals, libraries. Don't even get me started on how they treat us in airports. If we don't move now to make sure that these places are truly open and accessible to everyone, then we just need to get honest and quit calling them public places. We need to just admit that they are really only open for people who fit neatly into one of two gender boxes, which I do not. I never have. And this starts very early. I know a little girl, she's the daughter of a friend of mine. She's a self-identified tomboy. I'm talking about cowboy boots and Caterpillar yellow toy trucks and bug jars, the whole 9 yards. One time I asked her what her favorite color was, she told me camouflage. Yeah? So that awesome little kid, she came home from school last October from her half day of preschool with soggy pants on because the other kids at school were harassing her when she tried to use the girls' bathroom. And the teacher had already instructed her to stay out of the boys' bathroom. And she had drank 2 glasses of that red juice at the Halloween party. And I mean, who can resist that red juice, right? It's so good. And she couldn't hold her pee any longer. Her and her classmates were 4 years old. They already felt empowered enough to police her use of the so-called public bathrooms. She was 4 years old. She had already been taught the brutal lesson that there was no bathroom door at preschool with a sign on it that welcomed people like her. She'd already learned that bathrooms were going to be a problem. And that problem started with her and was hers alone. So my friend asked me to talk to her little daughter, and I did. I wanted to tell her that me and her mom were gonna march on down and talk to that school and the problem was gonna go away, but I knew that wasn't true. I wanted to tell her that it was all gonna get better when she got older, but I couldn't. So I asked her to tell me the story of what had happened. Asked her to tell me how it made her feel. Mad and sad, she told me. So I told her that she wasn't alone and that it wasn't right what had happened to her. And then she asked me if I had ever peed in my pants before. I said yes, I had, but not for a really long time, which of course was a lie. Because you know how you hit like 42 or 43 and sometimes you just, I don't know, you pee a little bit when you cough or sneeze when you're running upstairs, you know, or you're stretching. Don't lie. It happens, right? She doesn't need to know that, I figured. I told her when you get older, your bladder's gonna grow bigger too. So when you get old like me, you're gonna be able to hold your pee for way longer, I promised her. Until you can get home? She asked me. I said yes. Until you can get home. She seemed to take some comfort in that. So, let's just build some single-stall, gender-neutral bathrooms with a little bench for getting changed into your gym clothes. We can't change the world overnight. for our children, but we can give them a safe and private place to escape that world, if only for just a minute. This we can do. So let's just do it. And if you are one of those people who's sitting out there right now, already coming up with a list of reasons in your head why this is not a priority, or it's too expensive, or telling yourself that giving a trans person a safe place to pee or get changed in supports a lifestyle choice that you feel offends your morality or your masculinity or your religious beliefs, then let me just appeal to the part of your heart that probably, hopefully, does care about the rest of the population. If you can't bring yourself to care enough about people like me, then what about women and girls with body image issues? What about anyone with body image stuff going on? What about that boy at school who's a foot shorter than his classmates, whose voice still hasn't dropped yet, hey? Oh, grade 8. What a cruel master you can be, right? What about people with anxiety issues? What about people with disabilities or who need assistance in there? What about folks with bodies who, for whatever reason, don't fit into the mainstream idea of what a body should look like? How many of us still feel shy or afraid to disrobe in front of our peers? And how many of us allow that fear to keep us from something as important as physical exercise? Would all those people not benefit from these single stall facilities? We can't change transphobic minds overnight, but we can give everybody a place to get changed in so that we can all get to work making the world safer for all of us. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
I want.
All right, so any initial thoughts, observations, reactions? We'll do the exercise. You folks took notes, so we'll talk about like each of the 3 points. But I'm just asking if there's anything, no, as you come out of it, how you felt, what did you think of it? Anyone? Yes, Sophia.
She has very good points. Like, it is necessary to be able to go to the bathroom without fear or whatever. Like, she has, they have very good points that they speak of, and how they have the example of the little girl or the other person, and how they're already struggling with the bathroom and they're only 5 years old or 4 years old. Like, it's just like, oh, like, you're brought into a world where it's like you're not accepted. What are you supposed to do? That's it.
Yeah. Thanks, Sophia. And Ivan made a really good case, I think, for us to understand why this is an important issue. So there is the aspects about trans people, but also the whole lot of people who don't fit in those binaries. How can we be thinking about them? So if anybody were like unsure, you were wondering, like, do we need a gender neutral bathroom? I think this video provides enough evidence and enough arguments. Anybody else? Before we go to the 3 specific points. So what I suggest is we do it in chat. So we'll start with different cost. What is the cost to trans people, like how they are being harmed. Ivan talks about it in the beginning a lot. So what I'm suggesting is you write down in chat answers for only the question 1. It's like, what is the cost of transphobia? So we could just say trans people, but the idea there is that those who are harming, it's out of transphobia. Yeah. So I'm expecting you to put down points in chat. You can also speak up, but I just want to do an exercise more in chat this time around. So thanks, Catherine. Anybody else? Yeah, just feel free to send it to everybody. Don't send it only to me. Yeah, so for sure it's due to transphobic behavior. I'm also expecting you to write down what were the things that Ivan themselves had to live. Yeah, getting smacked in the face. Yeah, that's an example, yes. So anything else? Yeah, and someone wrote getting judged. So yeah, being judged. Yeah, they were harassed. Yes. Anyone else? Yeah, hearing people deliberately talking about them. Yeah, getting yelled at, that's an important point because Ivan talks about it. Questioned also. Can somebody write that? So like being questioned, being harassed, but Cami already wrote harassed. Yeah, prosecuted. Yeah, being bothered. Yes, health risk. Yes, all good points. Okay, anything else before we move on? Thank you to all of you who have contributed. Those of you who are not, maybe jump in for the other questions. Yeah, being inspected or people watching them. Yeah. So with that, we'll go to the next point. Is there anything else on point 1 that people want to add? Are we good? All right, so let's do question, the aspect number 2, which links to what Cami wrote. So Cami talked about public polls. So let's see, like, what are different spaces and areas where, like they are facing issues. So Cami, if you want, you could write the public polls. Yeah, changing rooms. Yes, the world, but the idea there is like, let's be specific. We already talked about being specific earlier in the class. Somebody wrote directly to me, but please do write to everyone. So in school, airports, sports facility, maybe you mean, Sophia? Yeah, online, yes, but we are just trying to just see from this video. Yes, Sophia.
Well, I didn't know if she wanted it specifically from the video because, yes, she did talk about classrooms and like being able to change into gym uniforms, but also just sports in general, or being like a very like, either you are a male that plays football and you're a girl that does gymnastics, or it's males could do gymnastics and girls could play football. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the basic point that we've talked about around gender, is like there is a specific expectation. Like there are not, like many girls who are playing basketball, for example. For sure, but we are here with this particular question is about like what is the cost that they are paying, like what is the price they are paying. So I think someone wrote gyms and airports, so that I'm going to put it directly. So we're looking at like different spaces. So the idea here is like, if let's say you were the Minister of Public Works, or some minister, and you have the funding, you need to know, okay, what are the things that we need to fix, or like what is it we have to adjust, so trans people don't have to worry, or like their life is easier. So this is the question we're answering here, like what are the areas that we have to think about. All right, anything else that's missing? I think there's somebody who wrote polls, also public polls. No, public polls was written earlier. It would fit here. All right, is there anything else that fits here? Anyone? Right, so let's move on to the third one, which is like process, which is how do we change the world? Like what process is Yvonne following here? How is Yvonne trying to change the world? Yes, spreading the word. That's very good, Gabriel. Yeah, so here what I would say, Julia, is by advocating for gender neutral bathrooms, right? The gender neutral bathrooms themselves are more of solutions, like what is it we are seeking? What is the outcome? So what else? We're talking about spreading the word. Anything specific there that we can talk about? Yeah, education. That's the main point there, is how can we be educating the population. So oftentimes the term that is used is popular education. Popular education means that it's not an education that is part of a program. You're not enrolled in a college or university, that you are we are imparting this education that reaches people who are not in these institutions, or it's not as part of a curriculum. That's popular education. And oftentimes popular education also means that your message, what you're doing, is adapted to public, adapted to who is in the room. So what Ivan did was a form of popular education. So being open to differences is part of the education that Ivan is bringing. But the means, the process there is really trying to spread the word, doing this process of education. There's a slide that I have prepared that I'm going to share, which has like most of these, and we can just take care of the delta. Sharing jokes actually is a way to convey your message. Also, people are a bit more comfortable when you say a joke, and then they are also receptive then to what you have to say. So if people are asking how does a transgender bathroom look like, so I'm going to share the slide in a second, but Ivan does talk about it. I think somebody mentioned earlier. So what is the solution that is being talked about here? I wanted to take a break. I forgot. I'm going to take a break after the film, but let's look at the slide and then we will, let's finish this and then we can take a break. So what is it that Ivan talked about as a solution, how a transgender bathroom look like? Anybody? I think someone mentioned here. No, they said gender neutral bathroom. But what Ivan has mentioned, and we see it also in our in the reading you had to do for today, is simply having a single stall bathroom. So what single stall bathroom means is that it's not what we see especially in public spaces, even colleges and all, is you have a door, you have an entrance, you go in, and then there are multiple stalls in it, right? So, and also especially in men's bathroom as well, there's the urinal as well. So it's still public. So the solution they're proposing is just have one stall. So you go in, it's a bathroom, and you are there by yourself. That's it. That's all. So that's what they're asking for, because there was a question directly to me asking what should it be like. So that's the answer. And Ivan talks about it. Let's take a break. It's 7:37. We'll come back and we can also look at the reading. There's an image, and they're celebrating in California the legislation of having single stall bathrooms. And I think Sophia mentioned earlier that how in North America there are indeed lots of gender neutral bathrooms. I imagine it's there also at Vanier. I can't recall. It's been also very long that I've been in the college. But when we come back, we'll look at the reading from Dawson, where the students really like built a movement to get the administration to basically sometimes like you have like single stall bathrooms which says which then they designated as gender neutral bathrooms, and there are many signs also that show that we can look at later on. So let's take the break now, and then we can come back and do the rest of the work, and we'll just wrap up this discussion when we come back. Yes, exactly. They don't want any specific gender to be placed on the bathroom, so anybody can go basically. There are some issues associated with it, which is like sometimes like men they go to the bathroom and they kind of leave it dirty, and you see different bathrooms and you see that men's bathrooms are a bit more dirtier than women's bathroom. But when you have like a gender neutral bathroom, which is to say, so it's actually called gender neutral bathroom instead of transgender bathroom. It's saying it's neutral, so it doesn't matter which gender you are, you can use the bathroom. So then the idea there is like how we think of our hygiene and how we keep things clean. All right, so you got the answer. I'm glad that it clarifies on the chat that we were having and more direct messages that I was having. So it's 7:40. Let's take a 15 minutes break. Come back at 55, and then we'll do the rest of the discussion, and we'll do an activity. Okay. So don't leave. Come back in 15. It's 15 minutes okay for people? It's too long. People prefer 10 minutes. 15 is good. All right, so back at 7:55. All right. So let's wrap up the discussion we had. And if folks at this point want to add other things that was not in the video, because somebody wrote something around online, like they've been facing issues online, and I think somebody else mentioned around sports. So if there are anything else you're thinking about, you can put it in chat at this moment. And what I will do is share a slide, in fact, a whiteboard notes around this. So we looked at the costs. And here this list has more than what's in the video. So we talked, so there is like dropouts, people committing suicides, the harassment, people questioning, physical and verbal abuse, anxiety, depression, the security guard issues that was mentioned in the video, being stared at, which is more passive aggressive, harmed in various ways, exclusion, feeling that insecurity, rejection, being bullied, being publicly judged. These are some of the costs. I believe it includes everything that's in the chart. And then we looked at like what were the structures and spaces where this is felt. So there was changing rooms, bathroom, gyms and pools, airport, work environments, libraries, hospital and other medical institutions, public spaces, so schools. You can think about like colleges, universities and stuff. Malls also. Somebody had said in the other class there was also someone, there were people who were trans, and they added like more things like shopping for clothes, because we were talking about bathroom, and then that's the additional part. There is when you are for shopping, there's like a men's area and the women's area, and also when you're when you want to try things out, you have like the different and so it's basically very binary. So there was that, and other spaces with gender binary construct. And then I'm just doing a quick recap here. So then you were talking about like what is the process, how do we change the world, and especially like what we see here in the video. So we've written education. It was there in the chat. So education is obviously one of the main tool here, so people can understand and be open-minded. So talking to trans people also, and listening to them directly and empathizing. This is an important aspect as well. So also when you're meeting somebody who's trans, like more listening to them really, and empathizing with them rather than judging them. So we talked about popular education, like a guest speaker, in general spreading awareness. So you could also be doing like more calling in, which is to say that if you hear someone around you who's being like transphobic, or like who's saying things that is insulting and or offending, so calling in. You might have heard things about like call out, like you have to call this out, you have to call out. The difference between call out and call in is calling out basically means telling that you did this, like you are the bad person, and then this person basically leaves the space, or there's an exclusion. So this person is leaving the space, but the person remains like transphobic in this case. It could be other things. But when you just call somebody out, their living space, but their attitude, the way they are thinking remains the same. But if you're calling someone in, then everything that is higher above, all of these things about education, talking to them, doing popular education and all, it's you can't achieve that when you call somebody out. But when you call in, you can have a discussion with them. And then there are different ways in which maybe they will understand things. Maybe they will feel like more educated. So that's the idea with calling in. So that's the point here. Calling in someone who's being transphobic and support the and also support the trans person and see if there is room for education. One of the things that Ivan did, we wrote about that, about the jokes and the story of the kids. So the idea behind the fundamental idea here is storytelling. So it's basically telling your experience helps other people understand what is going on, and then maybe it will facilitate them empathizing. So that's the next point about seeking empathy, allowing people to see your perspective. And then there were a couple of other points here that had come in the discussion. Well, one is solutions. So we talked about it, which was gender neutral bathrooms. So what is that? It's a single stall bathrooms. Because you can have the regular bathroom, which is not single stall. So you have one door and you go in and there are many stalls. Let's say you make it gender neutral, but it's still public inside, and it may not work because there's still gender norms associated with it. So the best thing is the single stall bathroom. And the last point that was added was hindrance to open-mindedness. So what is stopping people from being open-minded? This we didn't quite discuss, but the answers are there. But anybody wants to say or elaborate on those points? So the points here are one, general ignorance of people. So people having blind opinions, or just having opinions without necessarily knowing the information, without necessarily being educated about issues. Also in the film, in the video, Ivan talks about masculinity, how there is this idea of masculinity, and when there is somebody who's transgender, then they are rejected. Or they are less than kind of thing. And lastly, and then there were the two other points, which was the morality and also religious beliefs. What is important here to note is that you might have religious beliefs, but your religion is not asking to insult other people, right? So, which is to say that they are basically not being open-minded, thinking that there is these beliefs, right? So the idea here is if you are open-minded, then maybe you are able to accommodate different needs and demands. Are there any questions on this sheet? I will post it on Leah, but are there questions now? No? Are we good? All right. So there's two things I want to do. Did people have a chance? So some folks said that you read the reading for today. I'm wondering if you can open it up, take it out. I'm going to share it here very quickly, and you will also see an example of what we have been talking about as single stall bathroom. and we'll do an exercise. So I'll come back to exercise in a minute. But here is an image. So this is a demonstration in California, but the image comes from a bit earlier, and the news is about how single-user public bathrooms will be all gender in California. So because like if there are like public bathrooms, they were assigned male or female. So there was a regulation that said that it will be all genders, which is gender neutral. So that's a this was when they were demanding. They are like, it's not that difficult, having single stall bathrooms, gender neutral bathrooms. So if you didn't already read these two articles, they are very short and very quick. So I suggest you read them. So here it's also the campaign at Concordia around gender neutral bathrooms and overall gender accessibility. What I would like you to do now as exercise is read just the first page of this reading that I had posted. So this is the proposal written by Jules. Jules was a student at Dawson. They and other people, they had ran a campaign in 2014, 2015. So campaign is a small movement, basically asking the administration at Dawson to introduce gender neutral bathroom. So here is a very good example of your peer, like somebody who was probably your age, who ran this campaign. I mean, you and Jules and other folks around them. So what I'd like you to do is I will assign you a breakout room. We'll see if we can use the same breakout room as earlier. If you have any specific requests, you can ask me and I'll try to adjust the rooms. And what I want you to do is take those 3 questions that we already discussed. So what are the costs? What are the spaces that are of interest or where it's people are facing issue? But the most important question here is the last one, which is the process. How did they make this happen? What was the means that they have chosen? So there's a document that I'm going to share with you here in chat. I would like you to open that before you go to the breakout room. And I'm going to show it. I will open and show it to you. That way it will be easier. All right, so if you haven't already opened this article, the reading I had posted on trans rights, open it up, because if you haven't read it, you will read it in this, as part of the breakout room. So I'm going to stop it here. And instead, I want to show you the document that you'll be working with. So I will put a link. So here you start off. So there'll be 8-9 groups. So I'm going to put your names here once the groups are created. And wherever your name is, also just note when I invite you to join breakout room, just note the the room number you're going in, and you will write the notes based on that. And this will go towards your participation grade. So I'm going to put names, and I'm expecting you to write whatever you're coming up with there. It's okay if you see other people's notes and all, so it's not about whether you're cheating or not. The idea is that you're doing the work, which is looking at the article and trying to bring points. Okay? There are questions in chat. All right. So just like how you saw on the white sheet that I shared, what I'm expecting is that each group is going to read that one page and write answers in these. Okay? Are there any questions? Is it fairly clear? Yes? All right. So first open the link. You will also have access to this when you are in breakout room. And the questions are in the document. So if you haven't read it already, it's one page. One page reads like in 5 minutes. So read it, and as you read, just like what you did for the video, as you read, take notes. And you can take those notes directly in the document. So I'm just going to correct this because I changed the order. Yeah, just make sure you are able to open it now. And I'm going to send you in breakout room. So those are the questions. All right, breakout rooms. So it will be 2 people per room, and I'm going to recreate. So it's possible that you won't be with the same people as you were in the beginning of the class. Give me a moment and I will activate this. All right, so there are 2 people per group. And just remember the number, and when you start filling in the sheet, I'm asking you to put your name. Just putting your first name is sufficient. Okay? Sometimes like some people have like names that is not your name, and generally I ask you to put your real name, so I'm asking you to do it yourself. Yes, Catherine. I can't hear you.
Hold on. Okay. Is it possible for you to add the paper we're supposed to read in chat as well?
Okay.
So that we can click on it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to actually make it. All right, so I'm going to add the article. So here it's possible that no, like somebody just mentioned to me that they had to leave early, they left. Think of this as you getting your participation grade, as in like don't think about like who's there and who's writing and who's not writing. All right, so here is the article. Download the article before you. Oh, sorry, I didn't send it to the right person. The sheet, that the link that I sent, it's you're going to fill it based on this article I'm sharing, the page 1 of the article. Okay, it's not from the film because we already did that exercise of the film, so you don't have to go back and do it. Okay, so you have the link. Are people able to access the link? The link to the document, and I also added the document, right? So I'm going to open the breakout rooms.
No, you don't have permission to see this. Come on.
So you can just click on it and it opens up directly.
No, it doesn't work for me. So I have to go back to Leah to get the original one, which means I might not make it back because I'm not good with computers. So I have to get out of this to go into Leah to read, make notes, and then try and find you again. Because from here it doesn't open.
I think maybe Catherine, at some point we can talk. We can just discuss about like how you can remain in Zoom and open Leah, because it's possible. You don't have to log off. So at some point we'll talk. Today, if you have to come back, it's okay. You can come back. But I did upload the document here. You should be able to like just click on it and it opens by itself.
It doesn't work for me. I clicked on it and I get a whole bunch of files. And the title is highlighted, and when I click on that to open, it doesn't allow me to open it.
Okay, so do what you need to do. You can go in Leah and then you can come back. Okay? All right. So those of you who are asking questions, I'm asking you to write your own name. So write your name yourself in the document, okay? So just remember the name, the room number you are in, because when I open the room, you'll see that there's a room number. Okay, and then just follow that, and I will also just see that if it's fine or not. Okay, all right, so here you go. I'm keeping the room for 15 minutes and we'll see if we need to adjust it. Okay, but let's start with 15. All right.
Hi. You know what we gotta do? Same. Sorry? Yeah. I guess. It is, for real. It really is. and she goes till 9. Like she doesn't stop. I swear. For real. I'm looking tired of hearing it because even my other class we talk about this. So I have 2 classes that talk about this. True. Wait, do you see the questions in chat? No, but where are you bringing these questions from? Oh, I didn't even press on it. I didn't even press on it, honestly. For real. Yeah. Are we supposed to read the thing? The page? Yeah, I ain't reading this. This shit looks long. I swear. For real. They have a whole transgender college thing? That's, oh my god. That's extra. Mm-hmm. That okay. I have an image of it already. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are we supposed to talk after, like, in front of everyone? If she says something, I'm just not answering. She's just gonna skip. Probably. That's what I'll probably do. Cause, no. I can't talk in front of people. I get nervous when I talk in front of, like, a lot of people. Yeah. And this teacher likes to, like, she likes to, like, what's it called? She wants us to have, like, our cameras on and everything. I don't even know. But I see it from, like, her side, like, it has to be boring just talking to black screens. Like, I'm not... Yeah. It's my second semester with her. Yeah. Last semester we used to do yoga in the beginning. Yeah. We used to meditate to everything. Exactly. I'll just keep my camera off.
That's pretty good.
But no, honestly, I don't even care. I just keep my camera on sometimes. But like the thing is that I can't keep it on for too long because let's say I'm on the phone, I'll just keep laughing. Like I'll look dumb if I laugh like with no reason in front of the camera. But I just turn it off again. For real. I swear. They think, no, they actually think we're machines. Like, they just keep on giving assignments and assignments. Yeah. I swear. But the thing is that they rush us to give them work, but they take their sweet time to freaking give us a grade. That's annoying. For real. You work like at a restaurant or something? Yeah. Yeah. That sucks, honestly. Honestly, I don't even care. I wouldn't even care if we had to be like in what's it called? Fuck, I forgot. Never mind, I forgot what I wanted to say. Oh, you're going away? Oh. Okay. That's good. Honestly, I'd rather be like stuck in the house for a good month and have a good summer than doing like if there's chances of Corona being gone, like and we have to stay, but that's never gonna happen. So at this point. For real. But the thing is that even like you see like in the States, like in Florida and stuff like that, these people are going to the clubs and everything with no masks on, nothing. They act like there's no corona. That's crazy. A what? For real? Yeah. I'm trying to have summer. Like a good summer. I swear. Me too. Yeah. Damn, there's 30 seconds left and we don't even know what to say. Nah, not really. Nah. No, I don't. Nope. You do? No, that's not for me. Yeah, that's not just. I never watched it, and I don't think I'm ever gonna watch it. No, it's just no. Honestly, it's just I see like the things, the books and the shows that people watch, and I'm like, it actually don't look good. Yeah. I'm dead. You said very adorable. By the way, if she asks, we're room 6, but I'm not answering nothing. So I'm just, if she says something about us, I'm just clicking like leave room. I'm leaving. Finish off, we didn't even start. I'm dead. I'm gonna just say, oh, I couldn't see your questions, ma'am. That's it. Actually, I'm just leaving. I don't do it. Where do you see it? People are writing. At this point, honestly, I'm just in this class to be in this class. Because I feel like she speaks with one tone. She's like, I don't know, it's just boring. Yeah, exactly. Mhm. Did she say we have an assignment for next Wednesday or no? No, I'm asking. Because she said the thing about the what's it called? I don't even know. And no, it's not. The thing where we had to create something, like the image and everything. Or you didn't hear that part? You remember she showed us like a front page? And then people asked, oh, can we Photoshop and whatever? No? Okay, anyways. But yeah, we're supposed to draw, we're supposed to Photoshop or something like that. Even I didn't even understand it, but like, I don't even know if it's for this week or next. I don't know. Exactly. We're supposed to make like I don't even know what the hell we're supposed to make. That's the thing. If she says my name, trust, I'm leaving. No. Yep. But but
All right, those of you who didn't finish, feel free to finish it, but I thought that you don't need to be in the breakout group for it. It's 8:45. I would say take maximum another 5 minutes to finish it up, and then we'll discuss a bit before we close the class. those of you who are here, like look at the document, like see what others have written, see if you have any questions. All right, so it feels like everybody, almost everyone has finished. There is maybe one or two people who are still finishing. All right, let's do a quick recap of what you folks did. This also becomes your notes, and I'm going to, you can actually download it yourselves, okay? So I won't put it on Leah, because this is your notes, and I know though not everybody here is, not everybody is here in class. So you can just download. I don't know if that works for you. It's you go in File, you say Save As, you download a copy, okay? So let's do a quick discussion on that. Let's start off with the first point about what was the process that they used at Dawson. Anybody wants to either summarize or say what you have written? If nobody is volunteering, I will have to call the groups. Group 1. Anybody in group 1 who wants to summarize? You don't even want to read out what you have written? There's really good notes there. Well, if you don't want to, that I'm going to close the class. The idea there was for us to discuss together. Should we go with the second group? Anybody? I would like to, but my mic is not working. Okay, Tahina, go for it.
Well, I'm not sure it's gonna be good, but one way to change the world is by starting with what is possible and close to you. So things like having events to talk about or to show what is happening to the group that you want to talk about, in this case trans people, or getting people together to go to, like in the case of in the case of gender neutral bathrooms in school, you can get people together in your school and get them to and go to the administration and have, or like get together people together in multiple schools and go to the, I don't know what it is in English, commission.
Yeah, commission. Yeah, school commission. School board.
Yeah, school board, and try and get them to add bathrooms, some things like that, you know.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you, Taina. Yes, so what these students did at Dawson is they simply went to the administration, Dawson administration. But stepwise, what did they do? They probably got together, like Taina said, you know, they probably did an event where they brought together all the people who were affected, who were interested in having gender neutral bathrooms. And then they wrote this document, right? This is an important point here, writing of the document. Because what it did is it laid out their situation, like their demands, and it also provided context. It provided like what is happening elsewhere, what are different people living, and they brought survey results from elsewhere. So writing that document was a very important step there. And once they had their case, they could bring it to the administration. And like Tahina said, like in other situations, maybe they would have had to go to board. Like if it was in a secondary school, for example, maybe they would have had to go to the school board. But colleges are fairly independent, so all they had to do was go to the administration. Obviously, it took a long time, and they had to give different presentations because just as presenting a document is not enough. So they were going and then basically laying out what is in the document, but explaining to people, taking Q&A, you know, like hearing people's comments. So it was a long process. Is there anything else? Are there other ideas I meant to ask around this? I'm seeing education here. Educating people from a younger age. All right, that's great. So maybe let's see if we have one each from the other groups or the other on the other questions, and then we can call it a day. So for question 2, who wants to speak? It's the cost incurred by the trans people. So here, like, you know, all the issues that they face and all. Yes, Sophia.
From my group, we talked about like struggles in finding jobs, or like being able to buy items from stores. Let's say if you identified as a female, but you are a male at birth, like people will judge you for, like, let's say if you're not fully transitioned yet, that you're buying a dress and you look like a male, and that will lead to like a lot of people like harassing you and telling you that you are not female or whatever situation it may be. Now also my teammate has wrote that they're being killed in some countries and being shown it on social media as unwanted people. And then I added to that because I know of somebody who's gone through this, which was electric shock therapy, to convert them back into wanting to be a, let's say if they were a female, like they identified as a female, they were electrically shocked to be a male. So yeah, there's a lot of things like that.
Yeah, no, that's terrible for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot in the article, right? So we are talking about physically attacked, people being physically attacked. Also, like being in depression, verbally harassed. There was general abuse, so physical, sexual, and verbal abuse. We're talking about bullying and other kinds of abuse. Anything else that people wrote down? And also lack of legal protection. Yeah, so it makes it worse. Yeah, and the health risk. Yeah, there's a very detailed account of health risk, right? So we are talking about having dehydration, kidney infection, urinary tract infections. Because if the bathroom is not accessible, they are not using the bathrooms. Those are important costs or side effects. Anything else? And lack of healthcare coverage. Yeah, in some places, the insurance is not covering this. Yes. Okay. Anything else? People are texting only to me. Yes, Catherine. We can't hear you.
Whoops. The difficulty of obtaining an education?
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about dropout already. So yes, you're right. So people actually are not attending school because of that. Yes. And then there's a problem in relationships too. Yeah.
They struggle for identity documents, changing their gender.
Yeah, there is that also. Yeah, changing name and identity, like different informations in school or colleges is very difficult. I think some of us know about that. It's kind of a bit of a bureaucratic nightmare. Yeah, it's okay. Sorry, I'm seeing messages sent to me directly, so I'm responding to that. Yeah, exactly, and struggle to actually be themselves. All right, let's do the last one, which is different spaces where the issues are experienced. Who wants to speak about that? Hatim.
Yeah, so our group just made it really plain and simple for everyone to understand. It's just that the transgender people they face their adversities almost everywhere, whether it be the public in a public place and at work or even online. So yeah, we just summed it up very fast. So.
Yeah, that's good, but we also talked about being specific.
All right, so for example, public places, we could say park, the public bathrooms, either in the park or, and for example, work, it's a job that they go to where they feel that they're outcasted by their peers. And for online, obviously, it's social media, Instagram, for example, YouTube, all those types of social platforms. Is that
Yeah.
specific
So
enough?
yeah. So it's so it is specific. I guess the assignment was also for you to look in the document and see like what the document is talking about. So the specificity there is like in the college. So you can think about your own college, because you don't know about Dawson College, but in your own college you can think about spaces where you would have this issue of like, you know, things being in restricted basically, and being in gender binary. So you have the regular bathrooms. There is changing rooms for the for the gym. I'm not sure there's pool at Vani. Is there a pool at Vani? Anyone?
Yes.
There is. So then there's that changing room as well, no? So like just the actual pool itself. So so those are the spaces we can think of, right? I mean, for sure, in general, we can we can talk about shopping malls and stuff, but in this particular example, these are the spaces we're talking about. You all did really good work in the document. And like I said, you could download it. I will see if I'm posting it on Leia or not. But it has your names, and also I would hesitate. But for sure you will, yeah, like I'll keep it for the participation grade. Okay. Any questions before we close the class? So one reminder before we go is the glossary. Glossary terms, you have to submit it by next class, by the 31st. So if you haven't done it already, just submit the term. I'm not expecting you, I don't want you to submit the description at this point. Only the terms, and I will accept, so you will know that it's approved. Or like, no, if it's all right, then I'm going to accept. We talked about it last time before the break, and I told you that you have to make sure that you search the terms that already exist. So just doing like Control F, like search in the document for the term you're about to post. So you'll see if it's already there or not, because I don't want double terms. Which is to say that if the term already exists, I don't want you to write on the same term. So make sure that you are submitting the terms before next class. And me, I'm going to post the instructions for the makeup assignment, either before the weekend or over the weekend. And it's due on the 8th. For now, what I suggest is you start thinking about which issue, which cause that you are going to put on the poster. So basically, like the event that you're going to organize is for which cause. And think also about like what kind of event is it? Is it a wine and cheese you're organizing? Is it a fundraiser? Is it a musical concert? Is it a demonstration? There could be many things, right? So start thinking about it. All right, and next class, we will do the second reading that I had posted last time, so which is on the gender issues, especially on patriarchy. So that's what we'll cover, and then we'll see if we need to take care of other things like glossary or other assignment instructions and stuff like that. Okay, and I have office hours Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You have the information, so feel free to drop by if you have any questions. All right, are we good for tonight? Great. So have a good night, and have a good week as well.